from the early 80s until kind of the mid 90s, well, really till the late 90s until something happens, quite a lot of charlatans and frauds and freaks come out of the woodwork. Snake oil. And to hammer that point home a little more is the Qigong boom was not the only boom that happened during this time period. It's part and parcel with what you might call a boom in the supernatural in China.
We could have had this same thing going on at the same moment.
Exactly. That's something that's so striking about this is like this stuff was so huge here, right? I mean, everybody believed that like there was, especially like there was also like the satanic panic and all this stuff. Yeah. Like the witchcraft and supernatural stuff was Stranger Things style, really big in the 80s.
Yeah.
But also faith healing and gurus and all this shit. Massive. And so I guess this was really a worldwide phenomenon that was happening. In China, this sort of like supernatural paraphysical craze starts with a little something called ear reading.
What?
Yes.
Is that something like when someone hears to you?
Yes, it's when someone hears to you. I know. I was telling my friend about this yesterday, and she's like, "You mean listening?"
Yeah.
But no, ear reading, as in being able to read a book with your ears. So the basically the first report of ear reading occurs with this child named Tang Yu in 1979 is like reported in all these sort of tabloid style newspapers as being able to read through his ears, and all these other really similar reports start popping up throughout China. Basically, like it's like Bat Boy shit, Weekly World News, right?
Yeah. I touched Jesus when I half died.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. I
don't know what that means.
I touched Jesus and I have died?
No, you know about all the stories of the kids like, oh, I died for like 2 minutes and I touched Jesus.
Colton Burpo. Yeah, exactly.
Wait, weren't we going to do a Burpo?
I think we're going to do a Burpo episode, but I also want to do an episode on
I just wanted to say Burpo.
A book that I read at Monarch called A Child Called It.
Burpo.
Which is A Child Called It, which was like a similar thing, except he was like a fake abused child. Like he just made it all up, and his like sibling and his parents were like, what are you talking about? You had a normal life. And I want to do it. I also A Million Little Pieces. Remember that?
No.
James Frey,
the Oprah
who
guy?
now owns a massive esports company, which is really, that's kind of failing upwards.
Esports is so crazy
and
to me.
Oprah apologized to him. Well, anyways, crazier than esports, check this one out, is ear sports. And it's particularly the sport of reading, which many people were claiming to do with their ears.
You can't do that.
The Tucker style?
That makes no sense.
Well, that's what the Chinese government...
Imagine you could just listen to a book. Well, I guess that's...
100%. So, in fact,
Audible.
This young Chinese child, Tang Yu, invented Audible. So... those are disproved by the Chinese government, which imagine having to be the scientist that gets sent out to be like, yeah, the kid can't read with his ears. But that doesn't stop this crap. All these people say, like, this is selling papers.
Good on them.
Yeah,
because you know what? We don't even do that.
So you think the U.S. government should debunk things? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying they didn't debunk any of the televangelists or anything. Oh, that's their constitutional right.
I will say those guys mostly debunk themselves by just having rapacious sexual appetites.
Yeah, no one seems to care.
I don't understand that. All those guys, is there one that's not horny?
No.
Anyways. So the ear reading thing kind of like, they're like, all right, this isn't real, but people still believe it, obviously. That maybe some unscrupulous newspaper editors and magazine editors realize that there's actually a great appetite for this stuff. And so there's this sort of ESP craze that happens. In fact, China does all these official studies on ESP. And around this time, actually, I think this is in the 1970s, a scientist says he proves that qi is a real material physical thing. So again,
but it was the 70s.
This is the modern, I know, I'm sure, yeah.
They're just catching up to what everyone was doing in the 60s.
Qi is real, man. No, we figured
I mean, the
it out.
Soviets were looking into it.
They were. That's the thing. I know. It is funny because
they're like, we split with them, but
I know. And if only the Soviets and the fucking Chinese hadn't split, we would have mind reading technology by now. Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Or we'd be able to teleport. But all these like reports of supernatural powers were appearing in China. The government was officially studying this stuff. This stuff was all over the newspapers. And at the same time, the Qigong masters were claiming to have these powers.
Yeah.
And so there were all these guys who were leading million-strong movements of Qigong practitioners who were like, I can fly. And I can actually, if you have a kidney stone, I can destroy it with my mind. and all this shit. Like basically they were saying they could do magic.